think what makes us stand out as a brand really when we offer this.
Obviously our product is the properties we build, but cutting onto part exchange, I think it is the relationship we have with Home Move Hub.
Well, communication is key,
Yeah.
and the same with the customers, with Anwyl, and I think that's what is lacked in the industry, communication.
Great to have you here. So today we're just going to be discussing a little bit about where the market's at, what's going on. It's been an interesting few months. So I don't know if you guys want to start by introducing yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Tom. I'm the Senior Sales Manager for Cheshire and North Wales.
And I'm Cam from Home Move Hub, and I'm the director.
Fabulous. So good place to start. It's been a challenging few months in terms of the market. There's been a lot of changes, perhaps the whole year, to be honest. So I think there's been a lot of people and discussion in the industry about people potentially holding off buying and, a lot of movement there. So probably a place to start is, what would you say to those people? Is it still a good time to move now? And if so, why?
I would still say it's a good time to buy, really, because the thing is, some banks and building societies are reducing their mortgage rates.
I think touching on what Cam said, to give a little bit of context for, you said about challenging 12 months, it's been without a shadow of a doubt 12 to 14 months. We started to see increases post-COVID with a base rate in December 2021, and then we unfortunately had 14 consecutive increases. But in terms of right now, it's the best time to be looking and to be moving without a shadow of a doubt, because in the last 14 months, as I've said touched on the 14 consecutive increases, the last two reviews have stabilised and they've plateaued off. So what we've seen is the base rate maintain, and what we've seen, Cam said, we've seen some of the mainstream lenders reducing their fixed rate terms for 2 and 5 years.
Well, there's still quite a lot of buyers in the market as well, ranging. So in terms of people offering on properties, what you're seeing in the market at the moment, people are offering typically 5% less than open market value at the moment. However, when you've got obviously the house builders behind you, they're willing to work with customers that come along to help you move into your brand new home, basically. And it works just because the potential buyers can't make up the difference. Least obviously you've got the house builder, i.e. Anwyl, to back you up, to help you.
There's some good stories out there, which makes a big change. 6-12 months ago, it was 20% reductions in house prices. I certainly haven't seen that. And
no.
Cam, I'm sure you're looking at the second-hand market. I haven't seen it either.
Well, it's just coming back to where it used to be. These prices now are not unrealistic. People's expectations are still quite high, but that doesn't help because land registry, that's 12 to 18 months out of date. So to show when people are looking on Zoopla, looking at the online figures, well, that's not up to date. That's given the inflated prices from when the market was a boom, basically, and they were going for 20 grand more. And now they're coming back to where they used to be, and that, it is making the market move, but it's just bringing those people to actually what's going on now in this current market, and actually telling them, speak to a financial advisor. Don't just go straight to the lender, especially for the second-hand market. There's over 5,000 mortgage products on the market that people don't realise about, and they might just find one deal to make it work for them.
Seeing 5,000 products on the market certainly gives me confidence, and should give everybody out there, whether you're a first-time buyer, you're upsizing, you're downsizing, confidence that the economy is still strong, albeit there is some bad press at the moment. So it's very positive at the minute, without a shadow of a doubt.
I think you touched on it there, but this is very much the new normal again financially now. It is that property boom is kind of past, and this is what we're settling back into, I think.
Yeah. And I think that the people downsizing and the people who've bought and sold several times, they've got a concept of that and an understanding of that, because interest rates when they bought their first home were significantly higher than they are today. So it was all relative at the time. I think where we're needing to look a little bit more thorough into really is for the first time buyers who are used to the 2% interest rates kind of post-COVID. That's not normal. It was never normal. And it's not going to happen again, is where I'm going with this. This market at the moment, with the current base rate and some of the fantastic products that are out there, is the new norm. So it's just educating everybody to pushing them in the right direction with advice from financial advisors.
Well, it's just about managing customers' expectations, really, being realistic. You've got many agents out there that do go out and instruct at an inflated price. And then you've got potential customers coming back saying, why is my house not selling? And what it comes down to is your house has been overvalued to win the instruction, where at Home Move Hub, We're here to manage expectations and be honest with customers to say this is what your affordability will be like if you're realistic with your open market value. You know, when you go to the open market on your own, people don't know this, you know, what resources there is there that agents are there to do. Because, you know, they come back and say, well, it's on Rightmove, that'll do. But that's not how it works. There's stuff that in-house agents can actually push the marketing to make sure you're hitting the target market, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as you say, we are still seeing people move. And what kind of demand are we seeing at the moment? Because obviously there's been a few bits in the press about the rental market being quite densely populated and whatnot. So have we seen sort of a change in who's coming to us almost?
I think the same people are still coming to us, like the first-time buyers, you know, with the second-hand properties. You've got people who are sold subject to contract. Cash buyers still, there's money out there that people have to buy properties, i.e. investors, because they're wanting to still rent out properties. Whereas the media's actually put out there that people don't want to rent out properties. They're now selling them because the mortgage rates are too high. You know, if you do review it, getting a mortgage is actually cheaper than rentals nowadays. But at the same time, some people don't have that facility to buy.
Talking from experience, the rental market you're saying about it being densely populated, there's very little there. And like you've said, people who are buying rental properties, they've bought them understandably with the outcome of making a profit on them. So if they're paying a significantly high interest rate at the time of when they purchased it, say 12 months ago, that rental income they're wanting is significantly higher. So, you know, we're very proud to say at Anwyl Homes, all of our properties are at a minimum of a B rating. So for landlords and landladies, they're able to purchase one of our homes and not have to worry about changing windows, kitchens, insulation, roofs, tile. You know, the list is endless of what they don't need to change. So we're seeing a lot of people that are looking at investing in new build because it's significantly less maintenance. We're seeing people downsizing, again, the energy bills.
And equity release, people's money's tied up in their properties. And you've got a lot of the older generation are now selling their big properties. The children have moved out, buying these smaller new homes that are more cost effective, but releasing equity to, you know, help their family get on the property ladder, i.e. these first time buyers.
So we are seeing downsizers doing that. And then also touching on the fact that energy bills, that you know, Ofcom, they've just increased the cap again as recently as last week. So they give with one hand, take with another. And unfortunately, what's happening now is people's energy bills are so significantly higher. And when you've got a D and E and F rated property, you're hemorrhaging money each month with your gas and electric. So we are finding people that don't want to be forking out that significant sum of money. Green mortgages at the minute are very, very big and hot topic at the moment with our financial advisors. And with a green mortgage, there's several benefits. There's products where you can obtain cash back, also decreased interest rates. It's not huge amounts, but enough to help with your affordability. And so some of our customers are coming in and they're just on the cusp of being able to afford a property. And when we're speaking with the likes of our independent financial advisors, we're finding that because they're buying an Anwyl home, a new build with a B, P, C or an A, for example, they are able to just creep up to the property they wanted. So,
well, this is the thing, the type of market that we're in, there is in the UK still a housing shortage, you know, and people need to move, people need to buy and move into different locations because of jobs, you know, that's what we're finding at the moment.
And I think maybe perhaps the customer hasn't changed, but we've seen perhaps new sticking points, which is why we're seeing a lot more people turn into things like part exchange, move simple schemes. Would you say you've seen a lot more of that in the past few months particularly?
Yeah, I suppose I'll touch on the first time buyer sort of element where I believe people are coming in far more informed now, understandably. The world's a lot smaller place now with the social media and so on. So, and there's a lot of podcasts, TikTok, Instagram, where there's people with expert advice they're giving. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you have to take that with a pinch of salt, but there is a lot of truth in it. So sometimes there's a little bit of a battle to kind of overcome stigma. They get influenced a little bit easier than somebody who's bought and sold several times. So sticking points for us at the moment is that kind of pent up demand post the pandemic was very, very high. So we found people making a decision literally on the day that they entered our sales offices. That's not the case anymore. People would like to view the properties. We obviously sell properties that are off plan, they're not yet built. We don't always have a show home to be able to showcase because understandably we can't have 20 house types ready. So what we're finding is people are visiting other developments to view the properties or similar properties. We're finding that they're going back, they're quite rightly inviting the mum and dad round. So there's several more appointments now in that process, whereas previously people were coming in and just didn't want to miss out. Yeah, sticking point for us at the moment, I suppose, is just kind of overcoming the stigma with the mortgage rates, especially for first-time buyers. And, you go on to Rightmove, for example, and they have a calculator at the bottom, don't they? And it automatically actually inputs the interest rate in there. And I believe it's around 6%. So you pop in, you're buying a house at 300, for example, that figure comes back, it's in bold, it's huge. It scared the life out of me anyway when I do it. But if you speak to an independent financial advisor, go through, you financially qualify you, that 6% could be significantly less. And then it's more affordable. So I think it's educating and just, as I say, the sticking points are some of these informative points on Rightmove or Zoopla, for example, can actually be a sticking point for us, can't they?
Well, this is the thing. Everybody's circumstance is different with financials. During the pandemic, a lot of people did get into debt. They lost their jobs. They got made redundant. And with obviously purchasing now with the schemes that are available, so you've got the Move Simple scheme. A lot of house builders, this is something that Anwyl, specialise in. Their Move Simple scheme, it does make the process as smooth as possible. We're here to assist and advise the customers in the right direction, which agents to go on with, managing the agent where they're not tied in, which is a massive bonus. A lot of agents tie you in for 6 weeks and you've got a 28-day notice period, and it could be shocking. But this is the thing with the schemes. It's all about people not being stressed, because that's what, actually hinders some sales. They go, I'm too stressed, I'm pulling out. Whereas if they've got that advisor at Home Move Hub assisting them all the way through the process, they will actually get through it as smooth as possible. And with the negotiations as well, they've not got the stress of that. All they've got to do is say yes or no. They are the decision makers. And with them not being tied in with the fee contributions as well, it saves them some money. And in this market, every penny counts.
So Move Simple is an assisted selling scheme, and this is definitely Cam's domain, so we'll rely on you for certain points. But from our perspective, Cam touched on it. Move Simple scheme is an assisted selling scheme. So customer would come into our door, through our door, and we would, if they have a property to sell, we would point them in the direction of Home Move Hub. I've been working with Cam for 4 years now, just over 4 years, and in that time, I can say we've had absolutely fantastic feedback from our clients on this particular scheme. There's two factors. I like to put it into two. When I'm speaking to our customers, I like to put it into two different sections. The first one is the convenience element. So, Cam touched on it, stressful, the whole purchase of buying a property. We try and make it as less stressful, but you've got to obtain a mortgage. You've then got to go through the conveyancing process with the solicitor. And then in turn with that, you've got to then manage your chain. So customers could come in, they sell their property and they've sold theirs, and there could be what we say 3 in the chain or 4 in the chain we've had. So there's a lot there, and it's very dense. And as you can imagine, if you weren't using Cameron at Home Move Hub, it'd be very difficult to obtain updates from where your chain are progressing and where they're up to. So the convenience element of it is fantastic, because we're not calling the customer's not calling us for updates. Cam's providing them and his team. And we're seeing significantly less cancellations when a client goes with Home Move Hub. So as a customer, you've sold via an estate agent with no interjection or help from Home Move Hub, and cancellation rate is significantly higher. And we do have numerous facts and figures to back that up. And that's because of the communication. It's absolutely key. The second one, and it's the biggest one, is the financial implication and the financial help that the client gets. Can obtain up to £3,500 towards your estate agency fees. So if you're selling a property, try and get my math right here, at 200,000, and it's approximately, call it 1.5%, and then plus your VAT, we're covering the majority of that, and they might have £100 left to pay there. So again, when you're looking at can you afford your new home, that £3,600 would be taken out of your affordability. That convenience, that factor there, and the financial as well is massive. So Move Simple is a phenomenal scheme.
Well, there's another scheme as well, obviously the part exchange scheme, which has just recently been released with Anwyl.
We started it in June, didn't we?
Yeah.
And infancy, we were in the infancy of it, and it just went ridiculous, didn't it? It went absolutely fantastic. And we've bought and sold 11 properties. That worry and that concern of finding a buyer, their position, we touched on it earlier, that's all gone, because we are a cash purchaser with part exchange. There's no chain, there's no mortgage required. So we take that stress off, and myself and Cam, or myself and Lucy, will deal with that at Home Move Hub. So again, it's very little conversations we have to have with the customer in involving them. So taking that stress away.
Well, like you say, with part exchange, it allows the customer to reserve straight away. I think the biggest stumbling block that you get is people say, well, you don't get open market value for your property. Well, the way to overcome that is, as much as you get a reduced cash offer on your property, you've got to look at Anwyl cover the agency costs. They also have additional extras in the new build, which with any other house builder, you have to pay for those extras, which are already in that property, ready to move in. And at least the customer doesn't have to, pay out their back pocket for that, really. And the residual value of that actually equals open market value if you look at it. So they're not out of pocket. It just makes the process a lot easier. It is a scheme where the customer can reserve their new build with no chain. They can move in within 6 weeks, which happens. And the resale as well. Once they move out of their property, that's not their problem. It's Anwyl's effectively. But that's why we're involved, to make that process as seamless as possible and sell the property out.
Because when you obtain valuations from estate agents, they'll come out and they'll value it with it selling between 8 and 12 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong, Cam.
Yeah.
And we'll instruct the part exchange if the criteria is hit. So there's certain criteria that needs to be achieved. So there's a 30% differential. So if you're looking at a property with ourselves at 200,000, we wouldn't be able to look at buying your property in if it was anything more than 140. So there has to be a 30% differential there to make this viable and for it to work. We'll then instruct Cameron at Home Move Hub and Lucy and the team to carry out 2 valuations and also a desktop valuation. So in hindsight, there's 3, but we have 2 physical valuers that do attend the property. And then we'll get 3 figures, won't we? We'll get an 8 to 12.
Yeah. 4 to 6, then a for sale price. Obviously, with that in mind, that for sale price, it doesn't mean it's going to be bought in at that. That's just obviously reflecting the current market situations. And people have got to realise, obviously, the competition in the area as well. We review everything with a fine tooth comb. And the reason we do that is because it's not registered yet. And it's all about making sure the comparable evidence, because you've also got to think of surveys as well, with mortgage lenders. As much as you can sell for more on the open market, you're still at risk of a down valuation if there's no comparable evidence to support that valuation. So that's another thing with part exchange. You get the guaranteed cash figure. As long as your RIC surveys and your gas and electrical surveys are absolutely spot on, then there should be no issues.
The for sales price, we have a lot of people who wonder if there's like a magic number, a percentage. What are you going to offer me for my house is a very common question. Is it 10, 15, 20% less? Are you going to make a lot of money on it when you resell it? That's not our business model, far from it. What we're just trying to do is we're trying to buy the property with an asking price that we can sell it for within a relatively quick time frame. And I'll be honest, of the 11 properties that we've recently sold using and facilitating the part exchange scheme, the figures were absolutely fantastic, and it exactly met what they wanted and the requirements that they needed. It was well received, and to be honest with you, I ran the figures. We've done 15 part exchange, 16 part exchange applications. Now, to buy in 11 of them, it shows that quite evidently this scheme is working, and the criteria that we've put in place is spot on. There's no hidden tricks. There's no hidden agenda. We want to sell you our new build property, and if we can buy your property in at the right price that works for both you and both for Anwyl Homes, then we'll do it, and we'll take that pressure off. But to have 11 out of 16 applications, it's fantastic. So if part exchange doesn't work, then we can move over to Move Simple. So there's always a backup, and it's working. And we're starting to see a big uptake in it. It's on specific developments across the region, and it's on specific plots. Cam touched on it earlier. Some of the properties, they benefit from additional extras. So coined the phrase turnkey property. Without the furniture, you can move in and it's ready. The part exchange scheme, we're the purchaser, there'll be questions we will ask. However, it will cut that out and we'll make that cash offer on the property. And you can live in your home until your new home is built and finished and the conveyancing process is done. Don't get me wrong, the part exchange scheme is usually against properties that are a little bit further ahead in build. But you can live in that property, can't you, Cam, until our property is ready. So rather than having to move out, live with family or friends, going to rent it, wonder where your dog's going to go,
Well, this is the thing with the offer negotiations as well with part exchange, all the buyers are aware that the vendor will be remaining in the property until plot completion. So there's no stress of them going, oh, I've got to move in my family, move in my rented. There's none of that. It is simply just a seamless transaction.
And I think people will be very aware that other house builders might offer something similar or similar schemes. So I think what makes us stand out as a brand really when we offer this, is it our, sales centres, our team, our relationship with Home Move Hub?
I think you've covered the majority there. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, you've answered the question perfectly. Yeah, I mean, obviously our product is the properties we build, they speak for themselves. So I could go on to a huge monologue about that. But cutting onto part exchange, I think it is the relationship we have with Home Move Hub.
Well, communication is key, and the same with the customers, with Anwyl, and I think that's what is lacked in the industry, communication with, like you say, with the chains, with the house builder. It's all about that communication, and with the customer, because they don't know half the terminology that's used in this industry, and that's why we're here as well, to explain every single part of the detail to them so they understand, and basically they're not just signing their life away.
Yeah, I do think we stand out above other builders that are offering the part exchange scheme because of the success stories that we have. We'll take a part exchange application once we've done our due diligence, and that's what's most important. We'll get the financial qualification done if applicable. We'll have conversations well prior to that application going in to not waste that customer's time, because their time's valuable. Cam touched on it earlier. Everyone is busy. Workload, family life, it's busy. So we have conversations prior to actually sending that application to make sure that we're on the right path, because ultimately, Cameron, you want to sell the property on afterwards. We want to sell our property, and the customer wants to. So we've all got a common goal, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I think it is, unfortunately, within the industry, there is stigma around part exchange.
All we're here to do is manage their expectations, assist and advise. We're not here to demand that they accept it, they do this, they do that. They are in the driving seat at the end of the day. And with them in control, with 2 schemes to go at, what's not to like? It's just about making sure it's about the stress-free element, because life's busy. Everybody will say that.
Yeah. I think it backs it up with your significantly lower than industry standard cancellation rate. So it helps us massively in the sales office when your communication is so good with not just the client, but ourselves. And the part exchange scheme is still going strong.
Still applications coming across. The market, it is the right time to sell. The demand in the market at the moment, yes, there is a lot of properties on the market. However, houses that we're bringing on, they are selling within a week. So it just shows how strong the market is.
Priced correctly, the evidence is there to back it up. And ultimately, when our customers have come into our sales offices and we've showcased our product, they've got the desire to sell their property because they want to be into one of ours, don't they?
Well, you've got to sell the dream to commit to the scheme.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Fantastic.
I love it.
I was waiting for that. Brilliant.
So if people are, looking to buy an Anwyl home, whether they're a first-time buyer or, got a house to sell, what should be their next step?
Yeah, I mean, we've recently done a rebrand, a reboot. We've restarted. Our sales centres now are absolutely phenomenal. We have areas where you can sit down with our homes advisors. You can come and see our brand new show homes. We can go through our Futurium system and show you exactly what's going on in the development, not just what we're building now, but what we'll be building in the future, and the surrounding area as well, which is fantastic. We also have a separate area as well for private conversations with independent financial advisors,
And then obviously commit to the scheme by talking to us. A lot of suppliers similar to ourselves, they're not available 7 days a week. We are. So, if the customer wants a call on a Sunday at 6 o'clock, we'll give them a call at 6 o'clock. It's just going above and beyond. People aren't available in the weekday sometimes. And it's about that, if you are available, we will speak to you. And even if they're at the sales centre and they want to call, that's fine. We'll give them a call. It's just about because there's no obligations, there's no harm in having a conversation. You know, it's no skin off the customer's nose effectively.
I think that's a really good point. There is no obligation. You know, the financial advice that we offer through other business partners and trusted business partners, there's no obligations. It's completely free of charge. So if that conversation doesn't go exactly how the customer would like, then it's something that, you know, it doesn't have to go any further. So the point is you've got to try it. You've got to come in, like I said earlier, the affordability element of it. 12 months ago, if the exercise was ran, you'd be very surprised what you could afford now to what you could afford 12 months ago, and what you could get for your property if you are trying to sell your home. And the pot exchange scheme, as I say, 12 months ago, we weren't offering it. So it's only been in 5 months.
Yeah.
So
it's been successful.
Very successful. So we do advise, come to our sales offices. Our homes advisors will quite happily go through any process that's applicable to you.
Well, thank you so much, both. I think that was very useful, and hopefully we'll see lots of new customers on our schemes very soon.
Hopefully so. Thank you.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Laura.
Cheers.
Cheers, Cal.